Today's video is brought to you by KGS Cards. If you need Vampire the Eternal Struggle products, go to KGS Cards at www.kgs-cards.com. Tell them the waterdog sent you. Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Reading Between the Lines. I am your host, the waterdog, and today I will be breaking down a Path of Caine deck for you. But before I do that, please do me the kind favor of hitting that subscribe button. It means a whole lot to me, and I really, really appreciate it. Well, folks, this is our 99th episode, man, and we're one away from the big 100. I got a nice little deck construction thing for you that I'm going to kind of break down for the 100th episode. And so it's been a nice fun 3 years of doing VTES videos and just kind of going through things. I can't tell you how much I've learned. I have learned so much, more than I've ever wanted to I've ever thought, I should say, or admit to. But I've learned a lot of things, and it's just little things that just kind of hit me. And I think, mentioning that, I think players are often surprised because I've had success that I don't know a whole lot. And I'd be the first person to admit I don't know a whole lot. And I keep telling you, I make these mistakes over and over and over again. If it doesn't matter if it's a play mistake or if it's I'm the worst person to ever get to do rules for. Don't ever let me do rules, okay? Because I'm telling you, just playing tournaments now for the last 3 years, I've learned things like, how to really make, spy and mission work, okay? It's things like that. How to make an Inquicog efficiently work, how to do a direct intervention, how to use Eagle Sight, what is Impulse, just a lot of different things that I have organized resistance, there's certain cards that you have to unlock and attempt to block, and you think, well, I could just unlock and, bounce. No, you got to attempt to block. There's certain things that you got to do. Just reading cards. And I think Oscar said it best about me. I don't understand the nuances of things. There's sometimes I just don't. Tactically, I'm really good. Nuance, it's a whole different thing. And some players are just much better at catching the nuances, and so they can be a lot more creative, I think, than I can. But I do have my moments of creativity. But what I do like to do is just kind of break out ideas and stuff like that. And I like to play with a variety of cards. I'm not building decks constantly to win. I'm building decks to just build, okay? And I have more fun doing that more than anything else because there's certain vampires I just want to play with, So, for example, in this deck, I wanted to play with Strohmann. I love Strohmann. I just got through, using him in one of my other decks, and I wanted to use him again. Mimir, I hadn't used him, in a long time. I wanted to use him, and so this gave me an opportunity to do that by using the Path of Caine. But like I said, really, really busy. We got the Dance Macabre coming up December the 3rd through the 7th. If you want to come down to Vider and come play, we got a lot of fun events going on, including, don't forget, we got the big draft on the Friday night. Saturday night, we got the Grand Prix, the Gulf Coast Grand Prix, and then Sunday we got the Gulf Coast Grand Prix Finals. So there's a lot of things going on, for the Dance Macabre 3. It's our third big year doing that, so hopefully you get a chance to come down to Vider, Texas. Come play with us, man. So let's break down Path of Caine. They've got these four decks that came out, and I think Path of Caine and Path of Cathari are going to be the two decks that I think are going to be utilized the most right out of the gate because they're just such good builds on their own. You could do a really good combat deck, and you can do a really good bleed deck, and really a good stun deck. I mean, it's just really a great way to do a stun deck too with Path of Cathari. But we're going to be breaking down Path of Caine, and so let's kind of get to it. So first thing I want to talk about is what is not going to be in this deck that you would get if you bought a Path of Caine starter set. Okay, there are you get 12 vampires, and we're not going to use 7 of them in our deck build today. Okay, you got Sirhak. He's the combat junkie. He's a Nosferatu. He's a 7 capacity. He's got little fortitude, little thaumaturgy. He's got big paw, big blank, big fist. Really good, combat associated vampire. I love the fact that you can go a lot of different directions with these. But he's there. Then you've got Baragulin, the Vicious, another Nosferatu, 6 capacity. Big paw, big blank, big fist. Another good combat vampire, does all those things. Then we're going to go to Tzimisce. Then you've got the War Beast, and he's a bishop. Got a little celerity, little thaumaturgy, you know, the big paw, big protean, you know, just another good vampire. Plays within those, you know, protean animalism, just really good disciplines to have together. Then you got a Banu Haqim vampire that we're not going to have in the deck, and that's the Bone Crusher, Hekla. Am I saying that right? Got a little celerity, big fist, big thaumaturgy, 5 capacity. Then you go to a 4 capacity, another Nosferatu, Lyons the Ruthless. You got the little paw, big fist. Then we've got another Tzimisce, 3 capacity, the Lawbringer, little paw, little protean. And then you've got a 2-drop Nosferatu, Serapong, which is going to have little animalism. So those are vampires we're not going to be putting into the crypt, okay? And then when we're looking at some of the cards that you get in the deck, these are some of the cards that we're not playing with. There's only 3 cards that coming from the Sabbat release that we're not putting in our deck. The first one is going to be a retainer, the Dread Mastiff. It's an animal retainer, but requires animalism. At the inferior, the retainer inflicts 1 damage on the opposing minion each round of combat during normal strike resolution at close range. And then at the superior, as above, and the employer gets an optional press each combat. Nice little retainer there. Then you've got a reaction card, Ensnare the Beast. It requires animalism or celerity. That's one of the things about the new cards is the or. So you don't have to use both disciplines, okay? Sort of like Mind the Wilds where you have to have both animalism and aspects to play. No, this is an either or. So a lot of these Sabbat cards are either or, which allows you to play a variety of different vampires from different clans because of that either or, okay? And trust me, I've already made mistakes with that, you know, forgetting that I can play the or part of the card. I've done that already, okay? Which I'm sure is going to happen to people. But Ensnare the Beast is a reaction. At the inferior, it's +1 intercept. At the superior, it's as above, and strike cards cost the active minion +1 blood or life during the resulting combat if this vampire blocks. So there you go. Then you got a combat card, Rage of the Apatomac. I hope we're saying that, Apatomac. And this is an animalism potence card. It's a frenzy card. Only usable before range is determined. A vampire can only play 1 Rage of Apatomac. I'm going to get that out correctly. Each combat. At the inferior, this combat you get +1 hand size, and this vampire's hand strikes inflict +1 damage. And at the superior, as above, this vampire's hand strikes inflict +2 damage. The nice thing is this is a card that's played before range, so you can cycle it in combat. You know, pretty much in almost every case you can cycle it in combat. So there you go. But those are the 3 cards I've chose not to use from the deck, and those were the vampires that we chose not to use from the deck. Mainly is because I wanted to play with some of the older cards and you know, just kind of, you know, add that to the thing. But there we go. So let's talk about the deck itself that we've put together in the crypt. We're going to run 5 of the new vampires. We're going to start with Crossbreaker because Crossbreaker is really, really good. You know, because you can burn the the blood to get yourself some aggravated hands. Okay, but he's got 4 superior disciplines. These are all strong disciplines. He's a Nosferatu. He is a bishop. He's got big paw, big blank, big fist. He's got the big pentagram. 5 strong, you know, discipline. Excuse me, 4 strong disciplines. And then once again, each round of combat, he can burn that blood to make his hands, you know, his strikes aggravated. So it's really, really good and very, very powerful, especially when you're talking about any vampire that has potence, superior potence, and you can do ag hands. That's always a nice little thing to get. Okay. Then we go to a Banu Haqim, Algirdas, the Solar Prophet. All right, another bishop. We've got Little Fist. We got Big Paw, Big Lightning, Big Pentagram. Strike cards cost opposing younger vampires +1 blood, which is really good, you know, especially when you get into combat with the younger vampires. Forcing them, if they want to, you know, play a strike card, you know, especially like strike combat ends, well, that's going to cost them 2 usually instead of 1, unless it's like an Earth Meld or something. All right, then we go to Tzimisce, Anusha, let's call it Anusha, the Maniac. You've got Little Chain, Big Paw, Big Cat's Eye, Big Pentagram, Sabbat Bishop, +1 strength, so you're already hitting for that +1. That's a nice thing. It's a 7 cap, so there you go. So you can see right out of the gate, these vampires all have great combat attributes with them, which makes them really, really strong, okay? Then we go to another Banu Haqim, Kaliana, Agent of Doom. We got Little Blank, Little Fist, Big Paw, Big Lightning, Big Pentagram, Sabbat Bishop. She gets -1 stealth when hunting, but she's also got another +1 strength. So there you go. You get to punch again with another +1 strength. That's very valuable in a combat deck. And then we're going to play with 2. Now, normally I think that most people say, well, you should build mostly around Crossbreaker, and you should play with like 4 Crossbreakers. And yeah, you could, but you know what? I wanted to have a nice combat vampire at a low capacity, and I like to be able to draw them out if I get to do that. And that's why we're going to go with Groznia, Butcher, Olyanska, Tzimisce. She's got the little cat's eye, the big paw, big pentagram, and she's a Sabbat Bishop, but she's also the 5 capacity, okay? Now, one of the things you'll notice real quick, there's 2 disciplines I'm focusing on, and that is animalism, and that is thaumaturgy. And you'll notice that every vampire that I play in the script has superior animalism and superior thaumaturgy. The other thing you're going to notice as we look at some of the older vampires we're adding to this is that they're all titled, okay? They're all titled, okay? And those are all done for specific reasons, as we'll get to. But that's the big thing. That's the 2 major disciplines I'm looking at, is superior animalism and superior thaumaturgy with these vampires, okay? So that's the new vampires. The old vampires, well, you got to play with these guys, I love it. I wanted to bring out Mimir because I haven't really played with him in a long, long time, and I just wanted to do that. So there we go. This was an excuse to do it. It's a Sabbat vampire. It's a cardinal, 10 capacity, little chain, big paw, big mountain, big cat's eye, big pentagram. Like I said, it's a cardinal. Other enthusiasts cannot play master cards that target Mimir. So in other words, you can't Pentex Mimir. You can't do it. That's really nice. And it's a +1 bleed. That's one of the things about the old vampires, is that I made sure that not only did they have those 2 disciplines of animalism and thaumaturgy at the superior, I wanted them to all have, for the most part, as much as I could, a +1 bleed, okay? And so that's why Mimir and Strohmann are really in there, because they fit that bill more than anything else, okay? Then we go to Strohmann. We're going to play with 2 copies of him, just like Mimir. We've got 2 copies of Mimir, 2 copies of Strohmann. Strohmann, Nosferatu, Antitribu, going to have the little chain, big paw, big blank, big fist, big pentagram, Sabbat, Archbishop of Berlin. And while he's acting, reaction cards requiring Auspic cost 1 additional blood. That's another nice combat thing right there, action feature, I should say. And +1 bleed and 9 capacity. So there you go. Fits right in line. And then we go to our last one that we're going to add is a Tzimisce, an old Tzimisce, Righteous Endeavor, 8 capacity, big paw, big eye, big pentagram, and big vicissitude. Sabbat Priscus, Righteous gets +1 intercept against Infernal minions and +1 strength in combat with an Infernal minion. And so that's why we're going with him, because once again, he also fits those disciplines that we're looking at, the animalism and the thaumaturgy, and he's Sabbat. So there you go. So they all have titles. They all are playing animalism, and they're all playing thaumaturgy, and so you can then really kind of have fun with those cards as you're going into it. So that's the Crypt, okay? 2 of each of the old, 1 of each of the new, with the acceptance of Groznia. We're going to play with 2 of her, okay? Let's go to Master Cards. The only new Master card that we're going to be getting is an Unholy Sacrament. And I'm trying to remember if Unholy Sacrament, right off the top of my head, is... I want to say, is she in Path of Caine? Yeah, she's in Path of Caine. I couldn't remember. I knew she was in Path of Power, but yeah, you're going to get 3 in the Path of Caine, Unholy Sacraments, but we're going to play with Unholy Sacrament in this deck, and we're going to use 7 of those Unholy Sacraments. And the main reason, it's one of the main reasons why we've got them all titled too, because it's just an easier way to get one of those vampires out. At some point, you should, within the first few turns, be able to hit an Unholy Sacrament and be able to get it. I've been fortunate. I've played the deck 3 times now. Or should I say, I've played the deck twice. Sid Conklin has played it once. Sid played it before I played it. He grabbed it. He goes, I want to play a Path of Caine deck. So he took my deck and he won with it. This is another reason why me and Sid are he takes my deck and he wins with it. Okay, but you get the unholy sacrament, and you get your chance to get your vampires out a little bit faster. That's another reason for having that, and for having them all to be titled and stuff. Okay, so there you go. Just kind of falls in line with all of that stuff. All right. When we talk about the old master cards, and I like this card. This is first one is a communal haven cathedral. Okay, it's a location. Costs you a pull. You may lock this card during your master phase to transfer equipment and or move blood between any two ready Sabbat vampires you control. This was a card that was also in my my Nosferatu Antitribu deck. I just like the fact that that for one, Heidelberg costs you 2, and Heidelberg gives you a little bit more flexibility of when you can use it. But the option of being contested, for me, especially when I was playing Sabbat, earlier in the year, was going to be very rare at all. With Heidelberg, you have a greater chance of getting that card contested. The other thing is it costs you 2, and with this, you can still use this during the master phase, and that's another nice thing is this is something that can be used during the master phase, so you can do things like Valen and stuff like that, and then move blood around as you need to. So it works really good. Dance Macabre, I'm a big fan of Dance Macabre. That gives you an unlock. Of course, Giant's Blood, fill it up. Monster, the classic, let's get into combat, then let's unlock. Valen, we're going to play with some Valens. And then, of course, a Yop Court. So we're going to play 1 communal, 1 dance, 1 giants, 2 monsters, 7 unholy sacraments, 6 Valens, and 1 Yop Court. Let's get to the actions. Now, when we talk about the new actions, one of the things that Sabbat has always had that's been really, really good is they've got a lot of enters combat cards. They got a lot of, I can take the action to enter combat. So they've got a lot. They've always had a lot. And with Path of Caine, we're going to get, basically a couple of more that we can enter combat with. Okay? But we're going to start with the Abuse of Power. The Abuse of Power, we're going to play with 2 of them. It's an enters combat card with a minion, and at the end of that combat, if only 1 combatant is ready, the controller of the opposing minion burns a pool. So it's a way to do damage. Okay, we're just kind of playing with 2, so there you go. Then you get an Augury of Doom, another action card, +1 stealth action during this. Put this card in play, I should say. During your prey's unlock phase, for each vampire and torpor they control, they burn 1 pool. If your prey controls no vampires in torpor or after they are ousted, burn this card. Methuselah can only have 1 Augury of Doom. Okay, so once again, just another way of doing, a damage. I lost the terminology for it. But it's a way to do damage. Okay, just another way of doing damage, and I like that. So anytime we can do, a different way of giving damage to your opponent, then I'm all for that. There you go. Alrighty, so it's just there you are. The last one that we've got that's a new card, and we're going to play with 2 of these, is Pillar's Fall. Okay, Pillar's Fall, you enter combat with a vampire, and at the end of that combat, if the opposing vampire is not ready, you can put this card on this acting vampire. This vampire gets +1 bleed. A vampire can have only 1 Pillar's Fall. So it's really nice for like Strohmann and Mimir, because if they do that, then all of a sudden those vampires are bleeding for 3, which is what I like, is the fact that now you can speed up the damage and stuff like that. So those are nice combat cards, okay? But we've got a lot of old cards that we're going to put into this that's been around for a while. We just love it. So we're going to start. We're going to have an Abbot. We've got to play with an Abbot. If you're playing Sabbat, it's one of the best intercept cards in the game, and you get to take the action and unlock. We're going to play with 2 of those cards, absolutely. 2 Deep Songs, why not? We're playing Superior Animalism. 2 Eternal Vigilances. This is a way to get to unlock, okay? And one of the reasons why we like to play, with the Archbishop, the Priscus, and the Cardinal, and you'll notice that's what Mimir, Strohmann, and Righteous Endeavor are, is they are Cardinals, they are Archbishops, they are Priscus. They can play Eternal Vigilance. They can then unlock and attempt to block. Game of Instinct, another great Sabbat card to basically enter combat with an older vampire. Love that card. We're going to play with 1 of those. Then we're going to play with a Rumble. This is another way to enter combat with a ready minion controlled by another Methuselah. In that combat, your hand size is increased by 1. If this active vampire is not ready at the end of the action, you burn a pool. Hopefully that won't be the case, but there you go. We're going to play with 2 Reader's Hands because we like to have unlocks, and then we're going to play with 2 Under Sieges because we like to have unlocks and intercept. And so this is a deck that, you know, if you haven't noticed, I'm just trying to figure out different ways to be able to unlock, take actions, and or react, okay? And so we're going to use those actions, the new cards and the old cards, using a combination of both to kind of make that happen, okay? Political actions, okay? We've got some new political actions. We're going to play with 1 Empire's Fall. And the Empire's Fall does come out of the Path of Power. And it requires a Sabbat vampire. It says choose 1 or more Methuselahs. Successful referendum means each chosen Methuselah burns 1 pool plus 3 additional pool if they control a ready vampire with capacity 8 or more. Okay, so that's a nice little card right there. And then another new political action card is War of Ages. War of Ages also comes out of the Power Pack, the Sabbat Path of the Power. It's a unique. It requires a titled Sabbat vampire, so this is another reason why all of my vampires are titled. Successful referendum means this card is put in play during your prey's unlocked phase. They burn 1 pool. After your prey is ousted, burn this card and gain 3 additional pool. Vampires can call a referendum to burn this card as a +1 stealth political action that costs 1 pool. So once again, it's a way to do an alternative form of damage. And I love the being able to do damage that's kind of unconventional alternatives other than simply just, you know, bleeding and voting. And that's the 2 major ways that we get it. So there's a way to put a card into play. You know, it's a vote, but it's a way to get a card into play that will do pool damage. So there you go. And then, of course, because there is just so much, you know, allies out there. The allies are just all over the place. These are just 2 cards I'm putting in just about every deck here lately. One is an Anarchist Uprising. You got to have that. And an Ancilla Empowerment. Why not? You stick them in there because these are great cards against Gangrel decks. These are great cards against, you know, these Hakata, you know, and any allied deck, whether it's Nefandus or, you know, Emerald Legionnaire, whatever. Okay, whatever style that they're playing, there are a lot of allied decks out there right now. And to stick 2 of those, you know, cards, just to have those 2 vote cards in your deck, to me, is not a bad idea. Okay, I can't tell you how much it's just paid off for me here over the last, you know, 4 or 5 months. I've won 2 games specifically because I've placed, you know, those cards in decks. You know, it just pops up and it does damage, and those were, you know, twice it's been the game-winning card. Literally been the game-winning card. Just last Thursday, it was almost the game-winning card for me. It came close to almost doing it, you know, because Chance was playing his Hakata deck. But it almost paid off for me. So putting those into decks right now is just a good idea to do. And so those are your 4 political actions. We got Retainer. It's a new Retainer, and I love this Retainer. It's Twisted Bloodhound. Okay? It's going to cost you a pool. It's a ghoul with 3 life. The employer can enter combat with a minion as a D action. So what I love about this thing is you can equip, and if you got a Dance Macabre, you unlock, and then all of a sudden you use the Bloodhound to enter combat, you know what I'm saying? Same thing, Rooter's Hand. It's great. You equip with, and all of a sudden unlock with a Rooter's Hand. But once you got it on you, every turn, you don't have to have a card. You can just simply take the action to enter combat. And so we're playing with 3 of them because it's just a really, really good little Retainer to have. Okay. Going to reactions. The new reaction card that we're playing with is the Sentry Signal. Okay. And it's going to cost you a blood off your vampire. Requires animalism or thaumaturgy. Once again, or. It's an either or, so either or works. Okay. For our vampires, they got both disciplines, so you know works hand in hand. Only usable at the inferior by a locked vampire. This vampire unlocks and attempts to block. And then at the superior, you can reduce the bleed against you by 3. So it's very, very versatile with what it can do. You can unlock and attempt to block. You can do a bleed reduction with it. It's a good card. And it goes kind of hand in hand with our old cards because we're going to play with some deflections. Okay, we're going to play with 4 of them. And since the Savage Way, we're going to play with 2 of them. So A couple of ways to unlock and just get maybe an extra intercept as we need it. Okay. Combat cards. Alrighty. Combat cards. Let's go to the new combat cards first. We're going to be playing with 4 new combat cards. These are all really good combat cards. The first one is Dance with the Devil. It's got Obfuscate and Thaumaturgy. At the inferior, you can get a maneuver only usable to get to close range, or at the superior, you can do as above, and once this round, this vampire can burn a blood to get an additional maneuver only usable to get to close range. So, very good card in the fact that you can get 2 maneuvers if you need to, possibly out of it for the combat. The big card probably that most people are going to enjoy the most is Hunting the Quarry, requiring Celerity or Thaumaturgy, only usable if both combatants are still ready. A vampire can play only 1 Hunting the Quarry each combat. That is one of its limitations, is that you can only do it once per combat. Okay. And then at the inferior, only usable if combat is about to end. Put this card on the opposing minion. You still control this card. Vampires you control can burn this card to attempt to enter combat with the attached minion as a +1 stealth D action. Okay. Or you can play it at the superior, only usable if combat would end. Instead, this vampire burns the blood to start a new combat. Now, more than likely, you're going to see the superior version of the card being played. But don't forget that inferior version is really still strong. It's a strong version to be able to put on there, and you still got 2 unlocked vampires. That's 2 more attempts, possibly to be able to go in and sink that vampire. Definitely, you get an extra one from the other vampire who can attempt it. And then if that doesn't succeed, if you can then draw into the combat. I'm just saying it helps. Either way, I think most people are going to play the superior, but at the inferior, don't forget that there is a little bonus with that, in the fact that you still get another attempt with that, as long as you've got another unlocked minion that can make the attempt to go into combat. Soul Grinder. It takes Potence, it takes Thaumaturgy. You can strike, a hand strike at +2 damage, or at superior as above. And this damage cannot be prevented by cards requiring Fortitude. So that's a nice little bonus. I love the last one, which is the Wall of Filth. And the Wall of Filth is a Protean Thaumaturgy card, only usable before range is determined. At the inferior, put this card on the vampire. This vampire can burn this card to prevent 2 non-aggravated damage in combat. A vampire can only have 1 Wall of Filth, or at the superior as above, and to prevent 2 damage in combat, and that would include aggravated damage. And so I like that card because even if you don't need it, it's still on your vampire and you can use it at a later time. Okay, and so I do like having those things. Okay, so when it comes to those particular combat cards, we're playing with 3 Dance with the Devils. We're playing with 7 Hunting the Quarries. We're going to play with 4 Soul Grinders. And we're going to play with 5 Wall of Filths. Okay? Let's get to the old cards. We're going to play with 2 Canine Hordes, 8 Carrion Crows. And man, I just love Carrion Crows in this deck. You get that environmental damage off. It plays great with Hunting the Quarry because at the minimum, hopefully, if you be able to start, a whole other round of combat, you're going to be able to have them crows hit again. If not, if they ended combat, then maybe you can still get it for the 2 in the second round of combat. So I do think that those 2 cards play well together. Really nice combination there. Taste of Vitae, we're going to play with 7 of them. And then Theft of Vitae, we're going to play with 3 of those because it's, besides using Taste, you can steal as a strike because you're playing that superior Thaumaturgy. You can still play, as that strike, which works really good. So like I said, I've played the deck. We played the deck 3 times. Sid won with it once. I've won with it once, and I did get a VP in another game with it. I would tweak this up in a lot of different ways. Probably, if I was, as I go, I would, probably make a few changes, maybe to the Crypt. But I do like the Crypt the way that it is. I like the cards that are in the deck. It's going to be ratios that would see changes for me. As I kind of go through and play, I might want to have a little bit more, maybe Sense the Savage Way. I might want to have maybe a couple more Sentry Signals, that type of thing. But the combat package part of this stuff, I really think is strong. Okay, like I said, I think that most people when they're building Path of Caine, they're going to build around Crossbreaker because you got the Ag Hands and you got a lot of these great combat cards that go great into that feature. Okay. But I just wanted to play with some of the older vampires and be able to do a combination of the old cards and the new cards and kind of play with them both. And that's kind of where my starting point was with this. So it's Path of Caine. It's a great set. I've enjoyed, looking at all of the four, new Sabbat decks. I think the only one that I really haven't played is Death in the Soul. I've played the other three. I've built, a Path of Caine and a Path of Cathari. I'm working on a Path of Power in the Inner Voice and a Path of Death in the Soul. But, we'll get there. We'll get there, man. Gang, that's all I got time for, man. We're now approaching the big 100th episode, man. I appreciate you watching this channel. I appreciate it very, very much. If you like what you've been watching, please hit the subscribe button. I am the Water Dog. This has been Reading Between the Lines, and y'all take care.